Why did God choose the tribe of Judah for the Messiah to come from? Hello and welcome to No Crown in Heaven for Bible Knowledge, studying Genesis verse by verse. We are in chapter 44. We talked in the last episode about the testing that Joseph was making with his brothers. He was testing them. He was trying to expose their intention, their hearts. They sold him to slavery, and this is 20 plus years probably, or about 20 years since he was sold to slavery. And now they are coming to him to buy grain. They don't know that he is Joseph. And he wants to expose, he wanted to see the intention of their hearts. So he's doing all these testing, putting the money back in their sacks, doing all these things, telling them you're spies, send them back, come back, bring your youngest brother. And in chapter 44 will be the last test. We talked about it briefly in the last episode. We're gonna just go over it quickly. It's the last test is in chapter 44 from verses 1 through verse 16 or verse 17. And that is they came back with Benjamin. He saw Benjamin. He said, okay, you're good. And they have the meal, which represented the marriage supper of the Lamb in Revelation. And we talked about that in Revelation chapter 19. Now he's sending them back with grains. He put the money back in their sacks, but also he took the silver cup, or have his steward took the silver cup that belongs to Joseph, have it put into the sack of Benjamin, and send them this way. So you read from verses 1 through verses 17 on your own. I'm just summarizing the story, and then we'll pick up from here. Now, they go out of town, they are on their journey, and Joseph sent his steward back to them to catch up with them and tell them, why did you steal from my master? As a way, we didn't steal. How can you say that? We even brought back the money that we found in our sacks, and this is not what we do. Then he would search their sacks and find it in Benjamin's sack. Before he find it, they tell him, whoever you find it with shall die, and we all be your slaves. I say, no, the one I find it would be my slave, and you guys go free. And he found it. They tore their clothes. They went back. They didn't want to leave Benjamin, obviously. So they went back to Joseph's house to plead with him. And we're going to pick up from here. I'm going to read verse 17. That's Joseph speaking. But he said, far be it from me that I should do so. The man in whose hand the cup was found, he shall be my slave. And as for you, go up in peace to your father. So that's Joseph speaking. He's telling, we all your slaves, and they're bowing down, and he say, no, just Benjamin will become my slave, and you guys go in peace to your father. So now start from verse 18. We're going to talk about Judah. So before we talk about Judah, let's go back all the way his life, what Judah did in his life. First thing, he's the one who came with the idea of selling Joseph. Why should we kill him? What benefit we get from killing him? Let's just sell him and get 20 pieces of silver and divide it between us, and it's more money for us. That shows how they valued Joseph, how they valued their father grieving and losing a son, the son that he loved. And also shows that the envy, it shows the hatred toward Joseph, and they all agreed. Now we have to understand also that Joseph, listening to the speech that Judah will give here, understanding, because he was there, understanding that Judah is the one who came with the idea to sell me in slavery. So let's read Judah's speech. I probably will read the whole passage from verse 18 to verse 34, and we'll go over it. Before we read the passage, also Judah went and married a Canaanite woman. We know that Esau went and married a Canaanite woman, two women, and they were grieving, causing grief to his parents. And by doing so, he despised God's promise, despised the first birthright before that, and now he's going marrying a pagan woman and disregarding all God's promises. And that was Esau. Judah probably knew about the life of his uncle and knew that his uncle was rejected to the promise of God by doing so. But he did the same. And then he raised wicked children. Two of his children, God killed them for their wickedness. So he raised wicked children. And then, after his wife died, he goes and commit fornication, turned out to be his daughter-in-law. So this is his history. Nothing good about it. So let's read his speech. Verse 18. Then Judah came near to him and said, O my Lord, please let your servant speak a word in my Lord's hearing, and do not let your anger burn against your servant, for you are even like Pharaoh. My Lord asked his servants, saying, Have you a father or a brother? And we said to my Lord, We have a father, an old man, and a child of his old age, who is young. His brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother's children, and his father loves him. Then you said to your servants, Bring him down to me, that I may set my eyes on him. And we said to my Lord, The lad cannot leave his father, for if he should leave his father would die. But you said to your servants, Unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you shall see my face no more. So it was, when we went up to your servant my father, that we told him the words of my Lord, And our father said, go back and buy us a little food. But we said, we cannot go down. If our youngest brother is with us, then we will go down, for we may not see the man's face unless our youngest brother is with us. Then your servant, my father, said to us, you know that my wife bore me 2 sons, and the one went out from me, and I said, surely he is torn to pieces, and I have not seen him since. But if you take this one also from me, and calamity befalls him, you shall bring down my gray hair with sorrow to the grave. Now therefore, when I come to your servant my father, and the lad is not with us, since his life is bound up in the lad's life, it will happen when he sees that the lad is not with us that he will die. So your servants will bring down the gray hair of our servant, our father, with sorrow to the grave. For your servant became surety for the lad to my father, saying, if I don't bring him back to you, then I shall bear the blame before my father forever. Now therefore, please, let your servant remain instead of the lad as a slave to my lord, and let the lad go up with his brothers. For how shall I go up to my father if the lad is not with me, lest perhaps I see the evil that would come upon my father? So when Judah is giving that speech to the master of Egypt, we notice that Joseph never interrupted him. He heard him all the way to the end. If that was not Joseph, if that was Pharaoh, if that was a ruler who those people are strangers, he would not give an ear to all that kind of a long speech for an important man like Joseph. He would just say, I don't want to hear it. He stole my cup. He stays. He's my slave. And you go back with your brothers. He would just ended it like that. But he listened because he wanted to see their hearts. Knowing that Judah, the one speaking, is the one who sold me. So this is very important for Joseph. But we can see here a true change happened in Judah's life. So that the time between the two events is from Joseph was 17 when he gave the bad report about his brothers, and then the dreams, and then he went to check on them, and they took him and they decided to kill him, and then they changed their mind to sell him. So there is a time period here, but he was 17. And now when we read chapter 34, we find out this is 2 years into the famine. Joseph stood before Pharaoh when he was 30. There is 7 years of good years. So he's 37. And another 2 years into the famine. So he's 39. He was 17. So this is 22 years or less, depending on when they actually sold him, since that happened. during this 20 or 22 years, all the evil that Judah have done, marrying a pagan, a Canaanite, raising wicked children, having a relationship with his daughter-in-law, not knowing she was his daughter-in-law, but he was committing fornication, and all that happened during these 22 years. But now he is pleading for his brother, the brother that his father loved. It's clear here. There is not one child between the remaining 11 boys that's important to Jacob more than Benjamin. He is the favorite one. So where is the envy? It's not there. If Judah still envied that Benjamin is the favorite one, he would have just left him. Now, when he came with the idea to sell Joseph, he didn't care about his father. Now he's caring about his father, to the point that he's offering himself to become a slave for life in a strange country to redeem Benjamin. And we need to understand that Judah at this point think that Benjamin stole the cup. Nobody knows that it was put in his sack. They would just find it, oh my goodness, and they tore their clothes and they went back. Maybe he asked him, did you steal that? And he said, no, I didn't. And then he didn't believe him because it's in your sack, you know. So Judah most likely is redeeming Benjamin to take his place, to become the slave, and instead of him, thinking Benjamin stole that cup. He should bear the consequences of his sin. But Judah himself knows, I'm a sinner myself. I should bear the consequences of my own sin too. But he has been changed. He has been changed. Humbled. Broken. And of making a sacrifice of his own life. He's probably remarried. He has more children. He has family. He has maybe his own flock, his own life. He lives with his father and brothers and relatives who are his family. And he's giving all that to redeem his brother for the sake of the well-being of his father. So verses 33 and 34 are the main point that revealed the change in his life. Again, verse 33 and 34. Now, therefore, please you let your servant remain instead of the lad as a slave to my lord, and let the lad go up with his brothers. For how shall I go up to my father if the lad is not with me? Lest perhaps I see the evil that would come upon my father. His heart is completely changed. And this sacrificial attitude, sacrificial work, doesn't come out of night and day. There was a change happening in his life throughout these 20 to 22 years. I have a friend who talks to me a lot. When we talk, we share our problems and our struggles, and he shares with me a lot about things happening in his life and how he react to these issues. And he'll say, if this happened 10 years ago, the outcome would be completely different. And he is completely aware of his fallen nature and aware of the work of the Holy Spirit in his life that give him the strength to act godly in these situations. And each one of us probably have similar experience. If that issue had happened a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, my reaction would be completely different. Because of the change that God, the work of God in our life. But Judah is the one who came to Joseph and made that offer. The rest was just like stunned with what's happening, confused. Did Benjamin stole that cup? What shall we do? Oh, I cannot do anything about it, the boy. But they did not offer that sacrifice. And that's the reason God chose the tribe of Judah to bring the Messiah. We talked many, many times about teach your children and your household, your children and your children's children and your household the way of the Lord. That was the reason God chose Abraham. And from there, everything working this way. From Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. Jacob obviously was living ungodly for a while, selfish, conniving, deceiving. So his children came to be ungodly. And then the changes start to happen in Jacob's life when he met Jesus on the way back and touched his hip. And he started to live godly, and now here is a result of that. Judah has changed. If we fast forward until the time of Joshua, and then the dividing of the land, and Judah takes the south part, Simon's take a portion within the tribe of Judah's land, and Benjamin right north of the tribe of Judah. So the tribe of Benjamin is a small portion right above Judah, Simon in the middle of Judah, and the rest of the tribes going north. And then we fast forward to the time after Solomon and the split of the kingdom, and the kingdom of Israel, the south kingdom, and the kingdom of Israel, the northern kingdom, the tribes. We fast forward from the first king in the kingdom of Israel. Every single king was a wicked king. They departed completely from the Lord. They worshiped pagans, worshiped idols, and practiced wickedness. The kingdom of Judah, they have a lot of wicked kings too, but they have few good kings, godly kings who restored God's work and God's ordinance in the kingdom. King Hosea had a big revival, and so forth. So the kingdom of Judah was the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Simon, the tribe of Benjamin. Judah redeemed Benjamin, and he remained with a good kingdom. Simon, who is also a wicked person because he conspired with Levi to go and kill all the people in Shechem when Dinah was raped. And they commit this manslaughter on the third day after they were circumcised. But Simon is the one who remained a prisoner for the time between them going back with the grain and until they come back with Benjamin. So who determined that Simon will be the one? Because Joseph told them, one of you stays and the rest remain, the rest go. One stays and you guys go bring your brother and come back. So Simon probably volunteered. We don't know. It's not Reuben, the firstborn. It was not anyone else, but probably Simon volunteered. So the kingdom of Judah contained the ones who most likely has their life changed throughout the year, and Benjamin is included because he is redeemed by Judah. And those tribes who are remained to be faithful to the God of Israel after the split of the kingdom. So we see that all these events are a result of a father who has been changed and his life affect the generation after him. And God's choice for the tribe of Judah to bring the Messiah from was not arbitrary, was not just because could be Reuben, the firstborn, could be Levi, the priesthood tribe, could be one of Joseph's descendants because he's the one who lived godly. But God chose the one that his life has been changed and proven by tests that he's been broken, and he's offering himself as a sacrifice to redeem his brother and to redeem his father and the grief of his father. So with that, I want to close with one verse in chapter 49, Genesis 49, when Jacob, before he dies, he's giving the blessings in a form of a prophecy. It was a prophecy about all his children and the future of his children, and it was a prophecy. And he spoke of Joseph. He spoke more, than this verse. But we read verse 10, Genesis 49:10. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him shall be the obedience of the people. Shiloh is the Messiah. So that was a prophecy that the Messiah will come from the tribe of Judah. And that's why God chose the tribe of Judah to bring the Messiah through, because of the change that happened in his life that continued in his descendants to abide with God's law. Not all of them, not all the time, but for the most part. To apply this to our own life as a practical application to our walk with the Lord, our choices and our decisions at hard time determine the future of our lives. When Judah made that choice to offer himself as a slave to redeem his youngest brother Benjamin, he made a choice that changed the course of his life and his descendants. And God took that choice throughout the history to bring the Messiah through his descendants. What choice in a hard situation that we say, this is hard to deal with, this is unbearable, I cannot take this, and we make the wrong decision that will determine the future of our lives and the future of our children. And what times we make the right choice, the godly choice, in this hard time, in this standing at the fork and trying to make a choice, and then we trust God, we make the right choice, we break ourselves, we deny ourselves and make that choice. It is a prophecy in our life to be blessed by God in his kingdom. It doesn't have to be a financial blessing. It doesn't need to be health blessing. It doesn't need to be materialistic blessing, earthly blessing, but it is in his kingdom. But these choices actually are a prophecy of what's to come in our lives. That can be a very small thing and can be a very large thing, but the effect is the same. Could be filing my taxes, and if I'm honest and put that number, I'm going to end up paying more. let me forget about that. That's a choice. That's a prophecy for your future. It's a very small thing, but exposes your heart and my heart. And it could be a huge thing, that like standing and risking my own life to protect somebody else. And the effect is the same, because it's the matter of the heart. I'm going to read one more verse to conclude this episode. Matthew 6:19. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. That's our decisions. Every time you make a godly decision, a godly choice, you're laying a treasure for your heavenly life, a reward, a crown. And every time you make the opposite decision, laying treasures here on earth by not paying too much taxes, by turning the blind eye on an issue, not confronting evil or condoning evil for the sake of a relationship, you lay treasure here on earth and you have a loss in heaven. And Judah made a decision to offer himself as a sacrifice for his brother Benjamin, laying a treasure for him in heaven, that the Messiah will come through his line. May God help us to make those choices and lay those treasures in heaven. God bless you. See you next time. Please subscribe.